for today's episode. We're on episode 7, and today we are talking about ghosting. And it's becoming a festive season phenomenon. And so that's why we are addressing it now, because we are moving towards the festive season. We're already in September, and we know the festive season is starting sooner and sooner now. We no longer just wait for December. Like, it's, listen, with the level of umgo, we need to festive very early because we just never know. So we're talking about ghosting. Coach Nunu, tell us about ghosting.
Ghosting. Spring has sprung and a lot of things will spring up.
Oh, wow.
Apparent.
Mm.
So, ghosting. It's quite a popular phenomenon, especially around these times of the year. I don't know what it is. I think it happens throughout the year, but it's heightened during this time of the year. So let's paint a scenario. Coach Londi and I we're in the process of starting a relationship, or let's say we are in a relationship. We are talking, everything is going well. One day, I send her a message. She doesn't respond. I send her another and another and another. Silence. I am just met with silence. Now, prior to all of this happening, there was no fights, there was no argument, there was no altercation. Everything was just going well. But then one day, this girl just decides she's not going to talk to me. She's not going to respond to my messages. She's not going to answer my calls. In fact, I even suspect that maybe she blocked me on other platforms, maybe social media. Like, she's just disappeared off the face of the earth. She's available to everybody else, but she's just gone AWOL on me, right? And so it becomes ghosting when it happens. I think when you start going from beyond 4 weeks, and honest, because, hello. And then now I am the victim of ghosting because everything was fine. And this person just stopped talking. She stopped. And if I maybe ask other people to check if she's online, if they've seen her around, yeah, they see her, she's alive, but just not visible to me. So that in a nutshell is ghosting, where everything is going well. We are in a relationship or are in the process of building one, getting to know each other. And then one person decides to cut off the connection without giving any explanation to the other party. So that in a nutshell is ghosting.
Okay. So, well, I've considered myself a ghoster. Um, you know how we walked around saying we are charismatic in high school and primary school? I've been walking around with a chip on my shoulder thinking that I'm a ghoster of note, you know? Because I have the tendency to, when I recognize in a relationship, because I'm very good at reading the mirrors, or reading the information that a relationship is giving me. And once I've seen that, okay, maybe in our relationship there's a dynamic that I don't like, there's a toxicity that the relationship is bringing to the surface, and it's something that I want to clean up for myself. I would allow myself to be in the relationship, go through the motions, allow the circumstances to just keep unfolding until sometimes it's me still investigating the depth, or even the source, or even the patterns of the toxicity that I've identified. So let me give you
Yeah.
an example. Let's say, so my biggest wound that creeps up on me in different ways and in different areas of my life is
Yeah.
unworthiness because of
Okay.
my abandonment. And so in my business, for example, it would creep up with me, let's say, accepting a client that's not 100% aligned. Bells and whistles, on the surface, we seem like a good fit for each other. It's a perfect fit. And so we start working together. But as we work, I know, man, this person is taking me for a ride. They are abusing my services. It just doesn't, it's not a win-win situation. So I'm getting the sense of being used. I'm getting the sense of they're not honoring their integrity. So we're just not ideal. We're not a good fit for working together. And so because of the structure, you create the structure to say, okay, let's have contractual agreements, let's do all of these proper stuff. And what I've noticed is, for example, when I see that, okay, this is me needing to learn to set boundaries, this is me needing to not overgive, and not go into savior complex, not go, so all of these things will come to the to the surface. And when I recognize such things, when I've seen them, I would say my first instinct is to find a way out of the relationship, uh, with integrity, where my integrity is intact and the other person's integrity is intact. And maybe we'll have a conversation around, um let's end things, let's wrap it up, let's no go beyond this, and give proper reason. And then I would have that clean break, clean end. And this is where I would then call it ghosting, because I do this whether it's a work relationship or it's a personal relationship. Like, I will tell you, things are not working out. Maybe please go try there, whatever. Or you know what? So now I would call it ghosting, because I then cut all ties. Like, I'm that person, I cut ties. Like, when I say it's over, you are not gonna be in my contact list.
Yeah.
And so I thought, in my mind, I then thought, like, oh, that's me ghosting people, because they don't know that I've deleted their numbers.
No.
They don't know that I've blocked them on on
No,
my on
it's
my
not.
stuff. So that's not ghosting.
It's not ghosting. The
That's
fact
a
that
clean breakup.
yeah, the fact that the person received an
No.
explanation from you of this is not working out, that is not ghosting. Ghosting is when somebody just disappears. No explanation, nothing. And they don't need to have had a fight. So hear me well. Ghosting is us speaking like this. The connection gets cut off, load shedding, network issues, or whatever. What's the natural thing to do? To try and reconnect, right? But you are the one who's busy making the efforts to try and reconnect, and I'm not. And even when you have re-established a connection, my screen would appear to be blank. And I don't come in to tell you that I no longer can go on with this or whatever. No explanation whatsoever. That is what ghosting is. Somebody leaves for work one day and just never comes back. That's ghosting. And they'll maybe resurface 3 months later. Somebody was talking, you guys were cool, you were good. There was no fight, there was no argument, there was no altercation. You didn't hear anything. Or if you heard some rumors about you, they're not saying anything. Do you know what I'm saying? So as far as you're concerned, you are good with this person. Everything is fine. They have never expressed or communicated any form of dissatisfaction or unhappiness to you about the relationship that you share. But then they just decide to silently withdraw from the relationship. And the thing about it is you wouldn't even know that they have withdrawn because they didn't tell you what's going on. So they just disappear. So that is ghosting. That is why this term ghosting is called, because they were here 1 minute and then the next they were not. They became a ghost. You
Mm.
know, they
It's
they fell off the face of your earth because they are still available everywhere else except in your world. Yeah, but now the major difference here. So when you take the time out, when you go through the process of seeing that, okay, maybe this relationship is not mutually beneficial, I'm not happy, whatever your reasons are, and then you come back and you explain to the other person. That's the part that involves integrity, because you calling somebody and saying, listen, I've been thinking, and these are my thoughts, and I think this is what we must do. You've actually had a conversation, and that person can never come back and say, I didn't know what was happening. But the victim of ghosting is just left hanging, not knowing what happened. That's the difference, you see. That is the
mm,
difference.
I see. And you know the reason why I'm asking it to you this way is, and I wanted you to give us this explanation, because a lot of times I feel that people struggle to understand what ghosting is. And so I appreciate that we were able to get the explanation of what it is, because a lot of
Mm.
times people will come in for coaching and they have been dumped, but they are
Literally,
still calling it ghosting
ghosting.
because of
You
that
see,
element of in the conversation, which is why I'm saying, because in my conversation I didn't tell you, listen, Nunu, so I'm going to block you. I'm going to delete your contact details. Then
mm,
when you come back as I ghosted you because you tried to call me and the call didn't come through. Yes, you knew that I had said this is the end of the road for us, but for some
mm.
reason, you still expected us to form, I don't know whether it's to form another type of relationship or to continue on a different capacity. And so that's the thing, that it's that confusion. So I wanted to
Okay.
go really deep, because ghosting is such, and it has so many layers and to it, I feel, from what I've seen
Mm.
and from what I've heard from people. Because literally a person will say, he ghosted me, she ghosted me, okay, run me through the ghosting, and they
Yeah.
literally explain what I just explained to you. No, they came back saying, hey, but no, ghosting. Oh, okay, so now we are all clear. My letting
Oh,
you know that this is what, and then continuing to block you off of my communication, cutting communication, is not the same as ghosting. Is that what you say?
yeah. It's not.
Cutting
It's not.
communication and accessibility after letting you know that this
It's not
relationship
ghosting.
is not
It's not.
working out for me in the way that I would like for it to work out, is not ghosting.
It's
So we are
not
all
ghosting.
clear on
Yes.
that.
Yes. And
Perfect,
you're right.
because
Let that
we
let that be the premise of our discussion. That is not ghosting. If at any given point in time the one party expressed their intent to end the relationship for whatever reason, via text, via any form of communication. If you are not in a position to deny having had a conversation, having received a message, having anything that says that this relationship is now over, then you cannot qualify that as ghosting. You can't. You know, the person who is a victim of ghosting is the person who woke up with somebody in the same house one day and the person just never came back and they didn't know what happened. All right. So you find that this person is very much alive. They were not involved in an accident. They were not abducted by aliens. They just decided not to come back to you. But they chose not to tell you. the part that they are not coming back and why they are leaving.
Got you.
So now,
Now, the second thing that I wanted us to get clear on, because these are all things that I get to listen to over the festive season, right? These are the stuff that
yes.
I get to listen to and deal with.
Mm,
So the person, so we now know that the person who made you aware that the
mm,
relationship is not what they want, and they're
yeah.
making you aware with, okay, this is where I'm drawing the line. Whether you accept that, whether you give them permission, really doesn't matter, you know. So they're not ghosting you. So be clear
Mm,
on that. Now, the second
okay.
one is, because you mentioned a timeline, and
Yeah.
the one is, oh, we are ghoster for a weekend, we are ghoster for a whatever, and then they come back. There's even memes around it. I'm gonna be like Jesus, disappear on Thursday, come back on Monday or Tuesday. And
Yeah.
people call
Mm,
that ghosting. Because the reason why I want us to clarify all these scenarios is it's very difficult to 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 solve a problem if you cannot diagnose it properly. Because when you're
mm,
dealing with ghosting, you're dealing with something different than somebody ignoring you, then somebody
mm,
avoiding you, then somebody just
mm,
not prioritizing you for a period of
mm,
time. And I feel we need clarity on that because people are accusing, people are being accused of being toxic, of being all these nasty. People are being called narcissists when they don't
yeah.
have a narcissistic um, personality disorder, but because of
Oh,
their
yeah.
behavior, they
Mm,
end up being identified by the things and the actions that they do, and their character goes out the door. So I really want
yeah.
us, more than anything, for this conversation to give us clarity, especially around this thing called ghosting, because you do not understand. A person carrying the pain and doing the work of working through ghosting is like treating cancer when you don't have cancer, going through that rigorous process when you don't have
Yeah.
that. So we need to be clear about how, what is ghosting, what is being ignored, what is not being a priority. Because people over these festive seasons, a person is in a relationship with a person who has another family somewhere. The person disappears for 2 weeks. They have a secret
Mm,
family. They disappear on you for 2 weeks. They come back 2 weeks later. What is that?
mm. Okay. So the people that will say he ghosted me over the weekend and comes back, I would not qualify that as ghosting. Loosely, yes, you could, but not really. Okay. Ghosting is something that happens over an extended period of time, right? So I'm thinking we're in September now. The minute people will tell you of stories that I last saw him or her around the 15th of December. The next time I saw them was the 10th of January or the 15th of January. That's like a month, right? And I think a classic feature of ghosting also is that when these people do come back, if they come back, because some just don't, if they do come back, they never want to discuss why it is that they disappeared. So they will do one of two things. They will say to you, don't you be asking me questions about where I've been. I'm here now, isn't it? I'm here now. And you know what? If you keep asking me questions, I'll leave again. This is exactly why I leave, because you ask too many questions. So you get gaslighted in the process because the explanation that you deserve, you never get, right? Or they'll be very quick to apologize, but still not offering an explanation of where they've been and why they left. So that is another classic feature of ghosting. So, and also these behaviors are one of two, they'll just be like deflect, like, no, don't ask me where I've been. I'm here now. Just be happy that I'm back. And if you continue asking me these questions, I will leave because this is exactly why I left. So you are left not really knowing the actual reason of what it is, why it is that they left. I mean, if they didn't leave, you wouldn't need to ask them where they've been, right? So it cannot be the reason why they left, number one. Okay. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So them saying, if this is exactly why I left, and if you keep doing this, I will leave again. Why is the subject of you leaving even on the table? Because if you had not done that, we would not be having this discussion, right? So no, that's not a reason. It's a deflection, really, and being gaslighted. That's what it is, because now they're making you feel bad for wanting to know something that you actually do deserve to know. And then the second one would be the endless apologies, but they are not genuine. The apologies are never genuine because they are just employed to get you to shut up and stop asking about where they've been. You see, so that's another classic feature of people who ghost, is that when they do come back, when they do finally, they just want to pick up where they left off. Because remember, I said to you, ghosting happens when everything is okay. There's no fight, there's no argument, nothing. Everything is fine. So according to them, what's the problem? I'm here now. Let's just carry on. Why do you want to dwell on the past? Why do you, and now you're being made to feel bad for wanting to know, why did you disappear? Okay, why did you come back? They don't even want to have the discussion of why are you back? What do you want?
So then the person who we have a fight, and then they say,
Yeah.
oh, we had a fight and then he ghosted me. So that's not ghosting, that's what? Avoidance. Because these are conversations that, no, we had a fight and then he ghosted me for like 2 weeks, gave me the silent treatment for 2 weeks, and then came back as if nothing. We must just pick up where we left off.
Look, you can have a fight that will remain unresolved, and somebody decides, you know what, I just want time out from this person.
But they don't let me know.
Yes, they don't let you know. And then they want to come back and pick up. No, it's, and the key thing is not wanting to discuss it does qualify as a form of, it's a form of, but then you get some other sneaky people who will start picking fights so that they can ghost, they can find an exit. Yeah, but so ghosting has levels to it. There's different forms to it. Some people actually even groom and condition you for the actual ghosting without you being aware. So what I mean by that is that you're in September now, people know, okay, spring has sprung, there's a lot of outdoor activities, there's a lot of entertainment events taking place. They want to leave and they actually don't want to be with you when they go to these things. They want to take other people, so, and you are just cramping their style. So what do? They will start maybe with the weekend, disappear for the weekend, so that come December, hello, if you put those weekends together, they add up to an entire month. You know what I mean? So they'll start picking fights so that they can leave, because they just, instead of saying, I want to go out with my friends, but I don't want to go with you, they don't want to have that difficult conversation, that challenging conversation where they speak their truth about their actual needs. So what do? They'll pick fights and then, and then they'll call it ghosting. But the real ghosting, and like I said, there's levels to this, right? So people will build up so that they do the actual ghosting. The real ghosting is the stuff where somebody leaves, that nothing wrong happened, they were not provoked, there was no fight, there was no argument, there was no altercation, everything was fine. They leave, disappear, don't communicate where they're going, and it's over an extended period of time, and they come back unannounced just as they left, and they don't want to talk about it. And it's over an extended period of time. And interestingly enough, this term of ghosting is new. However, the practice and the act of ghosting is an age-old thing that's been around longer than we've been here. Our
Mm.
grandfathers were notorious for these things. Our
Very.
grandfathers, you would hear stories of Ubabus Banbani who left. People would even assume that people have died. People would leave for over 20 years, 30 years even, and come back when they are old men. In fact, there's also women who would do that. Women who would come home to give birth to children. When the children are around a month or so, off they go. You never see or hear from them again, and they come back, they're pregnant again. It's 3 years later, and the same cycle repeats. So, ghosting has been around, and it's the kind of people where, even seeing them reappear, you could actually have a heart attack because that's how long they've been gone. You never even thought they were still alive for some, you know. So that is the real ghosting. So the kinds of the other stuff, no, not really. It's lower levels of it, but the real ghosting is where actually, do you know that there's actually people who can claim divorce on those grounds, and the court will grant them because the spouse has been AWOL for years.
Mm.
And that could be your grounds. That could be your reason to say, this person has been gone. It's been 5 years. I haven't had a thing from him or her. I have no communication whatsoever. However, I am told that he is seen around areas XYZ. And the court will then put in an advert on a newspaper in the area where you think or where you've heard they are now, so that they can respond. And if they don't after a certain period of time, you are granted a divorce based on those grounds. So that is ghosting. That is the real ghosting, where you are divorced in absentia because you became a ghost. You ghosted. You decided to disappear. You know.
Mm.
So those are the different levels and the different types of ghosting. But ghosting has been around. It's a thing. It's a thing. And dare I say, it's an inherited thing for some people.
Mm. Yeah, I can imagine that. The inherited piece of it. Now, for the people who struggle, gay, with these disappearing acts, because they happen, they are a
They
reality,
do.
Jim, a heartbreaking reality, even at that, a reality that also um, brings up a lot of self doubt, stirs
Mm,
up a lot of uncertainty and insecurity in relationships, because those are the general feelings around relationships,
yeah.
especially during these times of the year where people really get to feel insecure, where they really are uncertain about where they stand, about their
Yeah.
partner's priorities, all of these things. So, looking
Mhm.
at it holistically, for people that are not being ghosted at that level of bunguka, my, my grandmother calls it that. Bungukele nje.
Xhosa sibabiza amachipa.
Because I have family members who do that, and it's not even a thing that is shunned upon. Like, we know that they are just people who struggle to be rooted at home.
Yeah.
They do disappear. When they come
Yeah.
back, we take a phone number. The number works for about a month. 2 months later, we don't know where they are.
Mhm.
But we know,
Yeah.
and nobody feels funny or otherwise about it.
No.
So when you say it's been around, like, it's been
Yeah.
around. These are people
Yeah.
who leave behind children. They just, and those are spiritual issues. By the
Mm.
way, those are spiritual
Mhm.
issues where people just struggle to be grounded at home. We all have family
Yeah.
members in that,
Yeah.
or in that regard, who just struggle to stay
Mm.
at home. When they come back, it's not even a week, it's not even 2 weeks,
Mm.
and then they disappear again. You
Yeah.
wake up one morning, you're thinking he's gonna come back for dinner, he just doesn't come back. Tomorrow he doesn't come back. Tomorrow, there are people who do that.
Yes.
and there's spiritual reasons around that, particular for
Yeah.
those particular people. And so it can extend as well to you attracting a partner who's like that, who
Yeah.
just struggles to be grounded, who just struggles to stay in one place for extended periods of time. And so
Mm,
I feel, and I recognize the injustice in that, in that it's easy for you to take it personally, that
mm.
there's something wrong with you if you do not,
Yeah.
again, back to the big picture thing, if you do not, again, take the time, like we were saying, take the time to know a person, know their
Mm,
patterns, you know,
mm,
know their
mm,
patterns, know how they function, because it's this rushing into things that you don't know. You haven't even
mm,
dated a person for 6 months. It hasn't even
mm,
been a year, and you are wanting stability at a level of being together at 5 years. You don't know.
mm.
It's just not enough time to learn their patterns. And if you really want to learn their patterns, like I'm saying, there are people who just cannot be grounded, not because they don't want to, but
Yeah. Able to.
yeah, they are unable to. They go into a relationship, they recognize that they could be grounded and rooted with you, but
Mm,
the ability to do that isn't active in them. And so
yeah.
those are also things that you should look at if you are in the habit of attracting such people. So which
Mm,
is then what I wonder if you can help clarify for those who do find themselves attracting people that are just abanganasizinza, abangakwazi ukuzinza. That's what
yeah.
we say ukuthi akakwazi ukuzinza lo muntu,
Yeah.
akahlaliseki, you know. So what is that? Right? For me, who finds themselves with a person like, what do I do? Because
Yeah.
phela I must just accept ukuthi mina December after December after December, I'm a weekend special like Brenda First.
Okay. So what happens? Okay, first and foremost, let me start here. People, like I said, there's levels and different forms and types of ghosting. So when somebody actually physically leaves you, is a physical manifestation of what's going on emotionally, mentally, spiritually. A person can never physically ghost you if they have not already done so emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's just that you were not aware that that is what was happening. It is possible to be with somebody physically under the same roof who has ghosted you emotionally. And it's a lived reality of a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. Okay. So let's approach it in this way, two sides of a coin. So the ghoster is a victim of abandonment. They have abandonment issues because ghosting literally means that you abandon. That's why we have a term called abandon ship. You abandon ship, but you abandon a ship that's sinking. Okay. But these ones don't need a reason. The ship doesn't need to be sinking. The ship could be sailing nicely and they decide, I don't want to be here no more. And they jump off. Right. And the wounding they inflict on their victim, on the people that they leave behind, is probably something that was done to them by a primary caregiver. So to them, this is a way of life. It's normal, and this is something you do to people that you are close with and have intimate connections with, because they will never do that to people that are intimately distant with them. They don't need to. There isn't any attachment from there. There isn't any emotional investment from there. They've got nothing to lose. However, here they feel like, if I get too close, then now this person is going to be all up in my business, blah, 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 blah. And it just makes them uncomfortable and it just gives them the heebie jeebies and they just want to get away and they leave. So the mistake there is that this person is unable and feels like if they communicate and express their truth maybe will be invalidated. They just have a fear of speaking up. They have a fear of speaking their truth to say, this is what's happening. So this is why I'm going to be doing what I'm about to do. Okay. Because also it's that thing of being vulnerable and opening up yourself to criticism, to being challenged, to being questioned, and all of those things. They don't want that. They just don't want people getting up too close to them. Okay, so they distance before you can get a chance to do that, right? On the other hand, the people that usually are victims of ghosters are the people who speak up. This is what I want. This is what da 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 da. All their cards on the table, but they still get left. They still get ghosted. Yeah, and so now, what's happening with the victims of ghosting is that they must strengthen their boundaries. It means that their boundaries are porous because the very fact that this person can ghost you, can disappear, and still be able to come back, why should they even be finding you where they left you? Why? You see, you are too accessible. So it's a thing of the one has the boundaries are too strong. It's not even, it's a stonewalling thing. We call it stonewalling, where people shut people out and build these high walls where you can't access them. And then when you literally have no walls, no fence, nothing, people can walk in and out of your life as they please because you have not set the rules of engagement of what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior when somebody relates and engages with you. So, yes, it is a very painful lesson to learn, especially in that type of way. However, if you are the kind of person who keeps attracting these types of people, then it means that you have no boundaries or your boundaries are a bit loose and you need to strengthen them up. And you need to be firmer in terms of the rules of engagement when it comes to you, because it means you are too accessible, you are too forgiving, you take nonsense basically because you are so hungry to be loved and accepted. You will take even things that you know that are unworthy of your love and attention, because even if somebody ticks all of the other boxes, but if that is how they get to treat you emotionally, I mean, what kind of relationship do you get to say you have with somebody who can just ditch you at any given moment? Somebody that you can't rely on, somebody that you cannot count on, somebody that if you had to show up at a place together, you were not even sure that they were actually going to show up. That's not a that's a low self-worth issue for the victim of somebody who will be ghosted, so it's two sides of a coin. And I think that as painful as it is, it's the lesson. So what you can learn from the person who has ghosted you is that, oh, I need to turn up the volume on my boundaries because that person, it's way up and they need to lower it down. So it's a vice versa thing. So that's the message. If you are the person who keeps attracting people that are going to ghost you, because I mean, think about it, when I Coach Londi, you have people that have been in relationships or even marriages, right? And those people started doing this while they were dating. Let's say a couple has been married for 20 years and they've been together for 25. And it's the wives a lot of the times who will say things like, oh, he started doing from the time we were dating. So he's been doing this for 25 years. And you get to listen to the crap stories every time they come back. Even a child will tell you that, but you keep taking it, and you sometimes even take it further and repeat it to other people. He says he had amnesia. He was in a car accident and he lost his memory. But there are no injuries. There are no hospital records. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't your level of self-worth is right at the ground for you to be taking such nonsense, to be entertaining it, to be listening to it over and over and over and over again, to the point where even your own children will tell you, I mama, stop believing this nonsense. I
Mm,
mean, so no, no. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way, where you have to learn that way. But that is the lesson, that you need to just increase the volume and strengthen your boundaries if you find yourself being a victim of such, you know. And the ones who do the ghosting, because like I say, it is a thing, it becomes part of your personality if you're not aware. So people will think, oh, no, they'll outgrow it. No, no, it's a matter of the person as well has a level of very low self-worth. Because what are you afraid? You are afraid that if you speak the truth, that I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this, what will happen? The person you are talking to will withdraw their love, they'll have a negative image of you, self-perception, all of those things. So it's also not sustainable, because in the long run you will not have long-standing relationships, because when you withdraw when you're supposed to speak up, when you're supposed to say what you feel and back it up, and just stand by your truth and saying, no, I don't want this, no, what, I'm not this person, whatever the case is,
mm,
so
mm,
yeah.
mm. So I always help think, well, I always like to take the approach of finding a common wound, because the reason why our relationships act as mirrors is because it's very hard for us to look at ourselves unless we are provoked. We don't want to do that. It's easier
Mm,
to blame another person. Um, and so that gives us information. So what are you blaming them for? So for a person who attracts and finds themselves in these situations, the common wound here, like you're saying, it's the real problem. The problem is the self-worth issue. It's a
mm,
self-worth issue, it's an abandonment issue, a fear of abandonment, it's
mm,
a dishonor, it's a disloyalty issue. That's the problem.
mm,
So in dealing with these circumstances which you are experiencing and you are calling ghosting, even the avoidance, even the 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 prolonged being made an option and not a priority, all these fancy, nice, big words
mm,
that
mm,
people throw around
mm,
to explain the circumstances. Really, if you
mm,
do find yourself, look for your own patterning around loyalty, around
mm,
honor, around
mm.
self-worth. Because
Yeah.
for the ghoster, it's a matter of, I'm gonna abandon you before you get a chance to abandon me. Yes. So
Yes.
for you, what is it? It's it's a disloyalty thing.
Yes.
It's a dishonor thing. So how
Nah.
have, like you're saying, how have you dishonored yourself by even
Yes.
allowing this person that has the capability and the capacity and the pattern and the wiring to do this, because you've dishonored yourself in some way. So
Yes.
how have you
Yes.
dishonored yourself? How have you been disloyal to yourself? You know, because we are pushed into these circumstances by desperation. And a lot of times, desperation hides behind longing and yearning. And
Mm,
people, if you cannot discern between what is a desire and what is a yearning,
mm,
these are the people who
mm.
find themselves in these circumstances, because desire is not the same as yearning. Yearning has that
No.
agitation behind it. It has that, it
It,
has an
it, it has
intensity.
an energy of lack behind it.
It has that
There's something,
intensity and the
yeah,
agitation, and
shoulder. Yeah.
mm,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
yearning. When you have
Yes.
a desire is very calm. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's dense. It's very
Mm.
grounded.
It's grounded.
Yeah, it's grounded. but it's in the reason why there's a confusion between a desire and a yearning is because desire operates on intuition. And
Mm,
intuition is not very polite. In as much as
mm,
desire is toned and polite, intuition is not polite, because intuition is a nudge, and a nudge
mm.
is not. And so when you're getting a nudge, it's a different than being agitated. So
Yes, yes.
that's the first thing that causes the confusion for a person to say, how, but why, how do I know? When you get a
Mm,
nudge from your intuition to say, hambala, or go
mm,
this way, you may
mm.
misinterpret it as that agitate. It's like the difference between anxiety and excitement. A lot of people
Yes.
don't know that
Yeah.
anxiety and excitement are the same energy.
Mm,
It's
mm.
just
The two
different
sides
polarities.
of a coin. Yeah.
Yes, it's two sides of the
Yes.
same
Yeah.
coin. People don't understand that. There are a lot of people who are anxious people is
Mm,
people who struggle to get excited, not because they
mm,
don't know how to get excited, but because even in their excitement, it's laced by that fear and
mm,
that lack
mm,
aspect of it. So it's the
mm,
same thing with
mm,
this. So it needs that level of getting clear, which is why I was giving all these different scenarios. Like, get clear what is happening so that you
mm,
can get clear on what is the problem. When we
mm,
started, things were all up in the air. It was like,
mm.
hey, and then this happens, and then this happens. Now we're at that point where we're like, okay, so the
Yes.
problem is self-worth. The problem is abandonment. The problem
Mm,
is dishonor. The problem is disloyalty. And the
mm,
circumstances are the power play, the
mm,
avoidance, the superiority and inferiority complex. All of
mm,
those things are symptoms.
mm,
So maybe if we don't sing and roll the drum and hey, 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 and become so sensitive, not saying that people's emotions and reactions are insignificant, but when you get there, it's like the sensation
mm,
mustn't create a smoke screen
mm,
that blocks your vision and your view of the real issue that is coming to hand, saying, hey, I'm ready for you to flush me out. I'm ready for you to release me. Because
mm,
abandonment says, I'm ready, the fear of abandonment says, I'm ready for you to release me. And
mm,
then you receive a relationship with this person.
mm,
Self worth says, I'm ready for you to increase the volume.
mm,
Worthiness says, I'm ready for you to embrace me.
mm.
And you get these relationships. And then we get so distracted.
Oh yeah, by the drama.
Yes, we get so distracted. It's like being distracted by the wrapping, and you never get to
Exactly.
open the gift.
Exactly. And you know what, when Coach Londi, you're so right. You're on point. Communication is verbal and non-verbal. Ghosting is communication. You know, I sometimes see people in distress. Like I was telling you earlier, that there's actually a show, and I know it was on MTV, called Ghosted, where they go look for the person who ghosted. They bring these two people to studio and they have a confrontation, a biggest confrontation, and the victim is usually hysterical. You left me, you ghosted me, blah, 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 blah. But the actual act of ghosting is communication in and of itself. What are you not getting if you are the victim? This person is showing me that I don't want to be with you for however long, whether they come back or not. And because people, victims of ghosting will cry for closure. What other closure do you need more than what you were given? The ghosting is the closure of the relationship, you know? It's the closure of the relationship as you knew it. What other explanation do you need, you know? And also, people must learn. People must learn, communication is always seen as a one-sided thing where it is always the person speaking who is considered. We never consider the other side where we have to be listening. People are always communicating verbally and non-verbally. And most of the time, people tell a lot and give themselves away a lot through the non-verbal communication. Okay, so if somebody, so this is why I said to you earlier that there's different levels to ghosting and different types and forms of ghosting, because there's a fact that there is a scenario where a couple will have a fight and one person will go off. Okay, fine, you had a fight, that's an isolated incident. But if this becomes a pattern that is repeated, where a fight is picked, we fight, and off the one party goes, and it becomes our thing. You see, now you can't say every time we fight he leaves or she leaves. No. But that communication, that person is communicating that I want to get away from you. Okay. And you are just misreading the whole thing and you're looking at it as a fight. No, it's not the fight. Stop being addicted to the drama. See it for what it is. See behind the fighting. And the next time they pick a fight, some people have gotten so good at reading their people that, oh, it's that time again. You want to go to a party? Just go. Stop picking a fight. So we must also, in our efforts to learn and be good communicators, another thing we should focus our energies on is being good listeners and observers, because life is always communicating to us, with us. Our partners are always telling us things and giving themselves away, most of the time through non-verbal communication, through actions. And you just now want to go and grab and clutch at straws of things that are not there and create drama where there is none. Mm-mm. This person has been showing you consistently and building up to this finale. And you missed it because you're too focused on the drama. Don't, So ghosting for me, and yes, I have been, how do I know so much about ghosting? I've been a victim of ghosting, and that's why I was like, oh, this is how it feels. Oh my gosh, And I realized that the first time, Nami, I was that person who was like, what's happening? What's happening? I left room for the person to come because I was curious to hear the explanation and what they would say and what the reasons would be, blah, 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 blah. But when they did it the second time, I was like, that's it. I shut my door. I shut my door because I was like, I'm not here for this. I am not going to entertain this. This person is deliberately disrespecting me, and I'm not going to allow it. Yeah, but so if you don't like it, you're not going to leave any doors open for people to be coming back. Change their locks. Let people knock at their own houses, because you're not sure where are you? We're not going to be calling a crew to Kumbule Kaya for people who can communicate and tell you that I don't want to be here. Hi, guys. No, we need to be smart about these things and see the real stuff that is going on behind the drama. People just get too addicted to the drama of having a story to tell about, oh, my partner disappears over the festive season. Where to? Where to? So now, if you're still finding it juicy stuff to talk about, to share with your friends, then it means that you are also not ready to face up to your own issues about how you are abandoning yourself in this very relationship that you're in, because that's exactly what your partner is reflecting to you. That is exactly what they are telling you. They are showing you with it. You, ma'am, you, sir, have given away parts of yourself here. You don't even know where you threw them away at, which bin. Okay. And I'm going to show you, Gemanje, physically. This is what you've been doing. And the day you become tired of it, you will close the door to them coming back, and you will go look for the pieces of yourself that you abandoned and get them back to yourself. That's
That's very important. That's very important. Like, shut the door. This thing is like, it even leads to the question of knowing when to walk away, you know,
oh yeah.
when to say I'm calling it quits. When you
Mm.
walk away from a relationship, when you shut that door behind the ghoster. So when they walk away and you decide to shut the door behind them, your motivation for shutting that door is also going to determine if the next person that you open that door to is going to do the same thing to you again or not.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're going to shut the door behind that ghoster, just so that you can show your ability to shut a door, just so that you can show them and prove to them, you are going to find yourself same place, same circumstances, same devil, different boot, is what I call them. So when you shut that door, make sure that you are shutting that door to do something significant and transformative for yourself, so that you don't again
Exactly.
have somebody that can pick a lock and then you are like, hey, how did you get here? Gulugudu
Exactly.
situation. I found myself there again because they were able to pick a lock and charm their way in. Or you open the door because the knock was slightly more subtle than the other one. You will open the door to the same devil in a different body if you do not do the work. So the difference in my very first scenario, when I said, I'm going to call Nunu and tell Nunu, you know what, I don't see this being a win-win situation. It's not working out for me in this and that other way. So can we wrap things up? It's September now. Can we wrap things up by the end of October? And then maybe we can try again in the future when we are at a better space. So by two, or you know what, let's just call it quits, but let's play it by ear and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
block Nunu. When
Yeah.
I block Nunu, all those things that I said I identified from Nunu, like, okay, oh, Nunu is pushing my boundaries a little too far. Meaning, I still have some fears around why haven't I built a concrete wall over there when I recognize
Exactly.
Uguti Ngololu is letting chickens and stuff in and it's messing with my vegetation here. Why haven't I put up a concrete wall over there? I need to go investigate. And then I need to make a decision around putting a concrete wall over there if that's what I want. That's what I'm going to be doing when I have blocked Nunu. So
Yes.
that I don't again open the door and I get another Nunu who is now called Bafana or Joseph, and then
Exactly.
carries on and treats me, and it feels like I'm back with Nunu again. Because if we don't take the time to do that, the ghost, because there is a common wound, there is always going to be a common wound. They don't carry anything that you don't possess. When Nunu is mistreating me and I feel like she's taking me for a ride, it's because I do that. I may not be doing it to myself. Maybe I'm doing it to my children. Maybe I'm doing it to my clients. Maybe I'm doing it to my husband, but I am doing it. Somewhere, somehow, I am Nunu to somebody or something in
Very
my
true.
life.
Very
So
true.
they will, relationships, the opposites attract thing in relationships means something very different. We'll have a conversation around what that means, why that became a term. But relationships really, before opposites and everything, they work with resonance. You get a 100% what is, it's almost like a replica. That's why I
Oh,
don't like this term twin flame, because it makes it feel and seem like this identical experience is reserved for a few, when we are getting it left, right, and center from different people every day. Every day we meet our twin flames all over the place around different aspects of our lives. When I meet a person there at the store who's struggling to buy themselves nice underwear, you walk in to buy underwear, nice underwear for yourself, you want to look nice and pretty, feel sexy, and then you walk out with a pair of soccer boots for your son who has not asked for them, but because
yeah.
they got interested in soccer last week, when now you've taken it upon yourself to go. We do it all the time. That
Exactly.
is my twin flame coming to show me, a girl. And instead of judging her, I go and be like, why did I
That's
just see that?
yes.
Why did I just see that? Because of all the things that I could have seen today. Nothing is accidental in
Glad to
life.
see that one.
Of all the things that
Of
I could
course.
have seen today, I just saw this mother go and put back underwear. And ngathinteka, why? because I I want to
Culprit,
be wearing, yes, I want to be wearing matching sets
culprit.
and sexy underwear underneath, and I do the same thing.
Mhm.
That's why
Mhm.
that came up, because now I need to
Okay.
release.
Yeah.
So I've had a twin flame encounter that day. So that
Oh,
Mina,
yeah.
I don't like these labels and stuff, because really we limit our experience in relationship. I have a twin
Mm,
flame encounter every single day. I have a karmic encounter every single day.
guys,
Every single
you
day we
know,
are meeting our soulmates, we are encountering our soulmates all over the place.
mm,
So
no,
really
man,
do
we
the
need
work and
to.
investigation.
No, we need to drop the labels and just because you see the labels are there to help us understand things and concepts, but they shouldn't serve as distractions and smokescreen because they can, if you allow them, they can become part of the drama, you know. We need to get into the habit of seeing things for what they are and calling things for by their actual names, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not know that this partner is ghosting me. This partner is disrespecting me, and I don't like how it makes me feel. And I'm not gonna stand for it.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe
This
later on
person
you'll
is
find out.
disloyal, and I don't like that. It goes
And then
against
later
everything
on
I've
you find
built,
that it's
you know?
it's ghosting. Yeah, well, listen to your intuition. How does a certain behavior make you feel? Communicate it to the next person to say, I don't like it when you do this because it makes me feel this way. And if after communicating, it still gets repeated, because you see, you can forgive something that was done by somebody unconsciously and they were not aware and right? Fine. We're human, we make mistakes. After you have explicitly told someone and communicated with them that, when you do this, I don't like it because it makes me feel this way. And I don't want to feel that way with somebody that I say I love and I'm in a relationship with. Please try not to do that again. In fact, not try not to. Please don't do it again. And they go, yes. And with the same smiley face, they do it again. Hi, Pella, that's disrespect. That is just absolute disrespect. And now the onus is on you, Kemanje Uguti. Are you going to allow it or are you going to put a stop to it? You see, because also we spend too much time blaming the other person, blaming the other person. You are not a sitting duck in this now. You have a part to play. And so choosing to do something is actually a stance again. You are saying yes to the behavior. So stop going around and complaining about it because you like it. The fact that you keep allowing it says that you like it. The day that you become enough of it, the day you become fed up and you're like, I can't take this, you will change something about it. You will leave, you will block, you will do whatever it is you need to do. But up until such a time that you are not at that point where you want to change it, please, you know, because now you see the other tricky part with such situations when a Coach Londi is that I will go around saying, Coach Londi ghosted me, Coach Londi ghosted me, Coach Londi ghosted me, Coach Londi ghosted me, Coach Londi ghosted me. Up until what point? Up until what point? Because at the point where you realize, man, this lady has blocked me. Okay, she's ghosting me. Okay, you cannot be singing the same song for a year, 2 years. Oh, she ghosted me. Because then it means you are enjoying being in that energy and space of being ghosted. Because that's where you've come and put up your shack. You are living there now, being ghosted. Because if you're going to be broadcasting, Coach Londi is ghosting me, is ghosting me, is ghosting me. Okay, people can listen to me for the first month, the second month, the third month, the 6 month, oh, she's still ghosted. The next year, oh, she's still ghosted. Year number 2, oh, she's still ghosted. It means, I'm still
And that
holding my.
goes back when I Nunu. Yeah, I wanted to take it there. That goes back to the fact that you haven't shut the door. You have not
Exactly.
shut the door. So
Exactly. Yeah, but
ghosting ends when you
how
shut that door
that
and
and
then you
seal it
do
off
the work that ends
and
it.
seal it off so that when Coach Londi decides to come back, the last time she was here, the gate was this side. Oh, what happened to the gate? There's a high perimeter wall here. Hi, Bo, Papa Pantubala, do they still live here? No, they moved. Or there's completely new residents in that house. Don't you know? That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what
The
should
double
happen.
story.
You know. So
Exactly.
honestly, that whole thing of blaming the person who left, blaming, looking for closure. The leaving is the closure.
So good,
It's
yeah.
over. The right, I know it hurts. It's painful. Yo, it's painful. Very painful. I know, right? I've been there. I had a
Mm.
miserable December this one time. My God. But listen, no, Pela. The December story I took the first time with the shaky explanations, and I knew that, ooh, la, hey, but I was like, okay, let's see. When it was done, manje, the second time around, hayi ke ngoku sana. But so,
Mm.
and I never got to find out what the explanation was the second time around. Because guess what? I moved the house. Indlu yathutha nje grew legs and left. Yabo? So it is up to you. A person can do something to you the first time, but the second, third time going forward, I get it's now on you. But if fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Yabo? So
I'm the
please,
idiot that I am. That's what I say. Now, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I fuck off. I am the idiot that you think I am.
what else do you like? How else do you want this person to show you? How else do you want this person to show you ukuthi lady andisakufuni ndigrade ngawe? It's fine. Like come on. Come on. Sometimes you just really need to be reading the writing on the wall. It's what it is, guys. It's what it is. Honestly.
and
Sometimes it's not that.
yeah, and really, if for some people the problem is the fact that you struggle with reading the writing on the, and if that's a thing for you, then you need to get help. Like you really need to get help and accountability.
Yeah.
If you are failing to read the writing on the wall, if you become dyslexic and you you make things
No,
just get mixed
people
up and you
some
can't
people
see.
stop even seeing the wall. Some people even
Hmm.
stop seeing the
then
wall
you
because
then
they
you
don't
need
want.
help.
Yes, you do need help. And if you say that, if you are saying, hi, mina, issue of attracting people who keep ghosting me, people who keep, anything that is a repeated behavior, and you find that you are a magnet of such, come talk to me, please, because your troubles didn't start when you started dating. Your trouble started at home.
Omen bafana
Your
enzandile
trouble started at
empress.
home. That is why you keep putting up with this nonsense, and you deserve so much more. Good relationships, good partners don't only not reserved for a special type of people with yellow blood. No, guys, all of us deserve them. But some people have learned how to put up rules and standards and rules of engagement of how they will be treated in a relationship. And the funny thing is, the people who will keep attracting these types of people, the ghosters, the scammers, all it is that when you are just so hungry to be loved and liked, you will put up with anything. And chances are these people keep leaving you for people who have, according to you, ridiculous standards. And that's where they go to settle. Mina, my boyfriends always leave me and get married.
Yeah, yeah,
Yibola.
2 months, and we know it's a reality. Like really, it is a reality. This is the work that we deal with every single day. People coming in and saying every person I've been with has dumped me, and then later on gotten married 2 months later. So I don't know whether they've been cheating on me the whole time. It's a reality. You are not alone. So when we're saying get help, it's because it didn't start now. It didn't start when you
Yeah.
noticed it. And
Yes.
some of
Yes.
it is not even of your own doing. It's
Mm,
just the hand you've been dealt. You know how we say people are born with a silver
yeah.
spoon in their mouths? Some of us are born with other stuff.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Mm. Coach Londi.
Sorry, load shedding. So
Oh, like,
it
yeah.
took a while for my backup to come on. So the time
Okay.
we spend doing these videos, having these conversations, creating these platforms,
Mm,
at the core of it is for us to let you know that your circumstances aren't unique to you alone. So there's no need for you to carry them as a burden, to own
mm,
them as a permanent piece of your life. There are solutions. There are people who walk the path. There's, for as long as your desire is genuine to be on the other side, there is help. There is a way for you
mm.
to get there. So honor yourself in that way.
Please.
Honor your desires in that way as well. That's why we do these things. Not because we have so much time on our
Mm,
hands, not because we don't have anything better to do, not
mm,
because we need to make plans and deal with load sheddings, all of these things. You
mm.
are not alone. The work
Not.
is the processes are there. There are ways to get to the other side. You just need to, especially if you are being ghosted or you are a ghoster, you have loyalty issues, you have honor
Yes.
issues, you have abandonment issues. There are solutions to these
Mm,
issues. Whether you are the one who ghosts people or the other one who
yeah.
is ghosted, whether you are being avoided and you are calling it ghosting for a weekend, a month, 2 months, 3 years,
Mm, mm,
whatever it is that you've decided, this is my reality, I don't like it, I want it to change. We
mm.
exist because there is a way for you to do it, and
Very
we are
true.
here putting up our hands and saying,
Yeah.
hey, that's all we're doing. So if that
Yeah.
is you and you're like, yeah, this is where I draw the line, ghosting, not another December, not another festive season story.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
the details are in the description. You can reach
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And I think the one other thing I want to emphasize on is that when we say come to us, understand that when we have time with you to help you through it's a no judgment zone. Okay. Don't be be fearful. "Oh, what are they going?" You will be surprised how many other people are going through the same thing. So there is no shame, and you know that you are at a point of change and transformation when you say, I don't care what that Coach Londi or Coach Nunu thinks about my situation. I just want to change it because I want my life to be better. I deserve better. Okay, so please, when you make time to see us, to talk to us, and we're not here to judge because, child, if we can start telling you our stories, so please.
What's a wow? You just had to go there. I'm even feeling menopausal now.
Don't play with menopause. I'm on menopause.
I believe we must prepare ourselves in our 30s so that we don't get shocked
I'm very menopausal. It's not child's play. It's not nice, yo. It's a ride. It's a whole ride. It's a wow. It's a big whoa. Okay.
Okay, I shall educate myself. I shall
Yeah.
educate myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is where we are wrapping it up with the ghosting. And hopefully this is something that is an aligned solution for somebody. So if it is an aligned solution for you, go ahead. And if
Mm.
because there have been people who you are inquiring, Guti, okay, when you're booking, do you need
Mm.
to choose either or can you book a session with the both of us? Just whoever you decide to contact, if you want a double session, let us know. Then we'll
Let
be
us.
able to do that.
Yeah.
Let us know. Then we'll be able to do that because yeah, some people find decision what and like okay, so we are here together. So
Yeah.
we should probably sync a calendar that yeah
Yeah.
has we'll set it up so that you can choose.
Tech,
We'll work
you need
around yeah
tech
assisting.
team,
Mm-hmm.
what you go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
We'll sort out our systems so that you can have the option of choosing when you book. Okay, I want a tag team or I want yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
so we will see you again soon. Thank you very much, Nina. It has been enlightening. Yeah, we've decided from now on we call each other on Zoom because halfway through the conversation we're like, hey, this is a single conversation. Pause. Let's go to Zoom. That's literally what happened today.
Yeah, that's what happened.
But
Thank
we
you
love
for.
it. We love it, and thank you so much for indulging us.
Oh, yes, please. See you next time. Don't ghost me. Don't ghost us, please.
Please, what a joke. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye.